evening, Joolse here from Joolsedesigns and JT Creations. So this is the cover that I'm making for the Outlander journal. It's not finished, but what I started with was Amazon packaging, just like this. It was a little larger and I cut two pieces. Well, it started off with about 17 by about 24, but it's 22 by just under 16. What I wanted to do was I wanted to make it look like a leather book. So what I did was I soaked it with a solution of glycerine and water, and it's kind of what you use on craft card and crumple it up and then put ink over it when it dries to make it look leather. And all I did was I just sprayed it and just rubbed it in. It took me a couple of days to get what I wanted. I also used a walnut stain spray to get it that colour, and then I put it in this folder. It's an embossing folder. These bits of paper are here just because I use them as shims, but I don't know whether you can see, and it's an A4, so it's big enough for doing the whole side, and there's, you can see it. And then what I did do when it was I think it's Penta wax paste metallic gold, and I just gently rubbed it on, and I probably will do a little bit more just to bring it up. I don't want it perfectly equal because I want it to look like an old book. So then when I got that, it was quite flimsy, so I realised my spine needed to be 2 inches wide. So I cut my spine just out of some old chipboard pieces that I've got off the backs of paper pads and things like that. I think you can buy it. As you can see, I've had to piece it. And then I stuck it on using bookbinding glue. I just put paper around the edges, just bound around the edges. And then these bits here, I used Tyvek. Now Tyvek, in the US, you get some envelopes are made of Tyvek, and it's kind of an indestructible paper. It's got like a fibre in it, you can't rip it. So it's good for using for sort of like journals if you don't want, you know, if you're doing the spine separate. It, you know, it won't split or break. Mainly I use them in albums. Then what I did was, oops, sorry, I wanted it to look like a book, so I just put some card, just thin pieces of card, what I'd cut off, and I put one there, and one there, and then I just glued them on. And then I just put this purple, it's like a tissue paper, but it's got fibre in, so it is quite strong, and I just put that on. So what I want to do is I want to finish off the spine there. You can see where the glycerine's starting to soak in, and it's quite greasy. It makes your hands feel nice and soft afterwards. So what I want to do is I want to put this here so that it's got a gold spine. I am going to use this bookbinding glue that it's starting to solidify, but it'll do. I'm just trying to use it up. Goes on quite thick, a bit thicker than what I want it actually. Yeah, I'm going to have to use my bookbinders stencil glue. Right. You can get bookbinders glue from Pinflare, and this is what I'm going to use. And it's a little bit, and actually less is more with this. The least you use, the more stickier it becomes. I think it's about there. Oh, see that bit's come off, so you can check your corners. It's a lot more free flowing than the other one. I'm just putting some down in there. When I put the spine and the sides together, I left about 1 mil, just so that you can open and close the book without it splitting. Right, so we'll just, yeah, that's easy to spread. And the gold that I've used for the spine, I've just cut it a little bit longer because obviously I'm going to tuck it in around the top. I am going to stitch the signatures in, but I'm going to stitch them into a separate piece. Cover that and then stitch it in, and then I will glue it in. Probably a bit too much on there, but never mind. Alright, and I've just gone over a little bit too much, but it's fine. Bit dries clear. And while it's wet, I want to work them in because I want it to look like it's like a proper book or book. I've not used this gold paper before for this type of gluing. I've used it for backing for cards and things, so I'm not quite sure. And I don't want to press too hard because I don't want to rip it. I'm just gently going over the 3 ridges that I've put in. And we'll turn that over. Try some of this. And that will just finish that off nicely. And if you've never worked with glycerine and water on craft card to make leather, I looked at YouTube, I've seen it done several times. I've done it quite a few times, but I've not got a tutorial on it. There are plenty of tutorials out there. And the glycerine I just bought in the local pharmacy. and I think it was about a third, 1 part glycerine to 2 parts water. So, and I just put it in a, I think it had hair spray or something in that. I keep all my bottles for putting bits and pieces in. I just put these bits here because I'd like overrun with the glue like I have this time. And it's just, normally I put talcum powder on it and it just dries it up a little bit. So there we are. Now I'll use my own folder just to go in there gently. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it dry before I actually try and fold the book round, rather than try and do it now. Because I don't know whether this paper splits when it dries. I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm not even quite sure what type of paper it is, but I just thought it went with the cover. And what I have done is I've printed, well, I've just designed a book plate for that, and it just says Outlander Journal. But what I'm going to do is I am going to foil it in gold on my scan and cut, and I will do it on craft card, and I'll try and get the craft card that colour but without that pattern on, and I'll edge it in gold as well. So you can see it's packaging because the corrugated bit's coming out on that one. Now I'm going to let it dry before I can turn it in that way. But I'll let it dry. And then that's just enough to fit. And you can see there's just about 1/2 centimetre either side. And the other folder that I made, this one, what I might do is I might do a pocket on the inside and put that in. But what I am going to do is I am going to put paper on these. Right, so I'm not quite sure whether, no, I'm going to take it right to the edge. So just take a little sliver more off it. Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll use Fabri-Tac for this, because I don't want to wet the paper too much. Just get that. Goes over there. just, that's actually stuck on the other side. And there we'll stick, this is just the old digital book page that I designed for this, because it's in the 17, I've managed to get a 1700 font, so it just makes it look more authentic. It just shows that. And then we'll do the same with this one, just check X. It needs a slither. I'd rather take more off than not have enough. I've been there and done that several times. Which isn't too bad when you're making junk journals, and this is a junk journal, but I just wanted I just fancied making a proper book cover for it. And I know I could have altered one, but I just fancied making one just to see if I could. And then once this is dry and I've got it done, all I need to do is stitch the signature and fix it in, and then it will be the flip through. That's one good thing about the Fabri-Tac, when if it squeezes out, you can rub it off and it doesn't affect anything. So that's that. So once we get them in, it'll look like a proper book. But as I say, I'm not going to do anything with it until it's dry. I'd rather let it dry. So thank you for joining me. I hope you get something out of it, and you can see I mean when I've put the wax paste on, I've been heavy-handed in some places. In some of the cases it did sink in and I had to put more on. But as I say, I will have another go over it, especially where I've got glue on it there. Right, see, I'm really wanting to do that and I'm not. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Bye.